It is time to do our first Stop and Jot for Module 5. Don't forget to grab your Module 5 handout. We started our content discussion by looking at the PH words, oh my, and quickly discovered that there were more PH words than we expected. And even though some of the terms were somewhat confusing, they were not nearly as scary as lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my. Our first PH word was phonology, which is the study of the sound patterns of our language, the unconscious rules that govern speech sound production. We then briefly discussed phonetics as a branch of linguistics that studies the production of sounds, the way in which speech sounds are articulated. We then moved into what I consider to be one of the most confusing terms, simply because it encompasses so many things: phonological awareness. We were introduced to phonological awareness as an umbrella term as it relates to the overall sound structure of words. It is an understanding of the different levels of our speech sound system. This broad term, phonological awareness, is divided into two major levels. The first is known as phonological sensitivity, which is the level of phonological awareness that includes larger units of sound at the word level, being able to hear chunks of sounds or words in a sentence, chunks of sounds with words such as syllables, rhymes, onset, and rhymes. Phonemic awareness also falls under the umbrella of phonological awareness, but is more focused as it relates to individual sounds within words. It is the ability to notice and manipulate individual sounds or phonemes in words. Phonemes are the smallest unit of sound, an individual sound. And this brings us to the final PH word, phonics. Phonics doesn't fall under the umbrella of phonological awareness as it involves more than just sounds. It involves both speech and print as it connects the phoneme to the grapheme. Since phonics isn't just an auditory skill, it isn't part of phonological awareness, but the development of these skills helps lead to success later when decoding words. We then move to a review of a few of the key science of reading models and processes to better establish a connection between this body of research and phonological awareness. The simple view of reading model depicts reading comprehension as the product of two major domains of reading, and phonological awareness is a key aspect of one of those domains, word recognition. We then revisited Scarborough's reading rope and noted that this model also focused on the same two major skill sets of the simple view, but expanded that view by breaking down each of the skill bundles into smaller skill strands. This breakdown clearly identifies the first subskill within the word recognition strand as phonological awareness, which includes phonemic awareness spotlighting its importance in the development of strong word recognition skills. The four-part processing model for word recognition also has a direct connection to phonological awareness. We reviewed the four processors that have to work together during word recognition, but focused on the phonological processor, the system that processes speech sounds in our language, because sounds is what phonological awareness is all about. The phonological processor is the system that processes the speech sounds we hear in spoken language. Our last topic of study focused on the key tenets of structured literacy. We know the tenets of structured literacy include explicit, systematic, and cumulative instruction, and the levels of phonological awareness progress in a systematic way from larger segments of sounds to individual sounds, and the instruction of these levels should be done in an explicit manner, following the gradual release of responsibility support system. So big ideas again. There are a lot of PH words involved in understanding the work with sounds during early reading development, with the most important ones being phonological awareness and specifically phonemic awareness. It is important to remember that phonemic awareness is a part of phonological awareness. And I am sure that you have noticed that almost every time I mentioned phonological awareness, I also said phonemic awareness, even though it should be understood that phonemic awareness is a part of phonological awareness. This has been intentional because we often consider those more advanced levels of phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, as a separate entity to emphasize the important relationship that exists between phonemic awareness and reading acquisition. This is an important distinction in terms of instruction, but it is important that we remember in the back of our minds that phonemic awareness still deals with sounds and therefore falls under the broader classification of phonological awareness. Explicit, systematic, and cumulative instruction in all levels of phonological awareness is essential for those children needing assistance at the sensitivity levels, but it is especially critical at the levels of phonemic awareness. These skills play a critical role in paving the way for strong word recognition skills to develop. This wraps up our first Stop and Jot for Module 5. How can these big ideas relate to your classroom instruction?